Hello, everybody. This is Todd from Copyflight. I'm coming back to you here with one of the about page teardowns, and this one is for Lockedown Design. And John Locke does a really good job with SEO, helping manufacturers. And we're going to go take a look at his about page today. And before I get started, I think there's two or three things that I'm going to offer as something that I think you can improve on, John. But I will say this is probably one of the best about pages I've looked at during this time of doing the about page teardowns. And I'm going to explain why as we go along. But there's going to be three things I'm going to ask you. Or actually, let me just back up and say there's 6 questions I ask when I do the about page teardown. And they come directly from my about page framework, which you can download for free at the Copyflight website. And I will drop the link to download that in the video below. But these 6 questions come directly from the About Page framework. The first question I ask is, what does your headline say? And I'm particularly looking for something that contains your unique value proposition. Number 2, the next question is, do you pinpoint my pain? As the person reading the page, as a customer, are you speaking to the pain that I have as a business owner or a customer? Number 3 is, can I see a future self, a future better self? 4 is, your company credible? Do I see credibility with your company? And we'll talk about that in terms of social proof, credibility enhancers. Number 5 is, do you have a story to tell? Are you telling a story about you or your company? More or less, everybody relates to stories, and particularly it helps make you likable, which is one of the 7 principles of persuasion that Robert Cialdini talks about. And but story, it helps people relate to you. It helps make you likable, makes you look more human. And finally, do you call me to an action? Now, as we go through this, I'm going to mention about 3 or 4 things I think you can improve on. But let me just say that you do a really nice job with your about page. And the first one is this: what does your headline say? And too often about pages don't even have a headline. But here, John has one. It says, we bring targeted organic search engine traffic. And then he follows that up with a little bit more that I think contains your unique value proposition. I really like Lockedown Design and SEO helps manufacturers with 250K to 50 million annual revenue improve their SEO search ranking. Right there, you know exactly who his target audience is. So if you're not in that range, you may continue to read, but you'll realize that John, his business is for that particular type of company. We specialize in helping industrial, manufacturing, and other blue-collar companies drive more natural traffic to your site. So in my opinion, between your headline and your first paragraph, you are absolutely nailing the unique value proposition here. And so it's not just very awkward if somebody lands on this page and maybe they don't know much about you, or if maybe it reiterates exactly who you are. Now, you go into that, the fact that you're a company based in Sacramento, California, but you do help companies throughout. Then you have something I've never seen before on about page, and I think it's actually a good idea, a table of contents. So I think that's good. It definitely helps people get to where they are, and you have a little bit of headline. I like how we're different, affiliations and awards, company values, our team, trusted partners, and appearances on the web. So I think you do a very good job with that. Oh, you jump into how we're different, which I think is very good. It's not exactly something I have exactly in my about page framework, but I think it's never a bad idea to explain what makes you different about as a company. But one of the things I'm usually looking for, especially early on, is what is the pain point? It's just typical copywriting. You know, what is the pain that your customers, if I am that manufacturing company making somewhere between 250K to 50 million in revenue, what is the pain point? What is the problem? And not getting enough organic traffic, and ultimately not getting enough RFQs, which I know you say talk about on your homepage. What exactly is that? I'm looking for that pain point, and I'm also looking for how you can make it better. Even if it's just a simple, imagine your website getting more content, getting more traffic generation, and ultimately more business. Something along that line, I think, would be a nice thing to see before you do this. How we're different section. I would not remove the how your different section is fantastic, and I think it's something you should definitely highlight. I would just like to see personally a little bit of information about what it is you're seeking to solve. Now, interestingly, this image sort of kind of does that. I don't know if you intended it that way, but you're showing a graph which progressively goes up. So I'm hoping that, I don't know if that, again, I don't know if that's what you were trying to do, but it kind of implies that, hey, we're going to help you grow your traffic. But even if you had, a couple sentences, and give them something to look forward to, is like, hey, working with John is going to be great. Now, and this is why we're going to have these kind of results. Now, moving along, you have this background and unique advantage. I think this is maybe also part of what makes you different. And it's kind of talking about is your unique advantage. So I guess it's kind of an extension of the first section. Here are things we do well, and here's what makes us different. Here's our unique advantage. Certainly, I know enough about you to know that you come from a blue-collar background and you love to work with those kind of companies. And that resonates with me as a person who also comes from that kind of background. So, if you're in the manufacturing industry and you need this kind of services, I think that is something that people will gravitate to. I like the keeping marketing jargon to a minimum. I think obviously marketers are the ones who talk like marketing. Everybody else just talks like a business owner. So web development and SEO under one roof. I do like that because often people will go to the website company and then, oh, we need SEO. You got to go somewhere else. And the fact that you do both, that does give you an advantage. And then measuring the return on investment. The fact that you make a concerted effort to do that is a really good thing, and I think that's also going to appeal. This section right here, the groups and memberships, affiliations and awards. This is what I would refer to as social proof or credibility enhancers. And you have more than one section for that on this about page. That's what I really like. So you do a good job here going through all the things that you have done, particularly some of these things that an average business owner, particularly in the niche you're working in, might relate to. Best rated advertising and marketing agencies in Sacramento, top 8 SEO agencies, A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. You have enough WordPress info in here scattered in that let them know that you know something about WordPress. I will say that I don't know how much your business owners will care about that. They may care a lot about it. So you know your target market better than I do as far as that goes. So I do like that you include things in there that are maybe transcend the WordPress community. Now here's a section I always think that should be included in an about page and rarely see it included. But you have it. And actually, when I looked through your about page, the first thing I thought of was he already gone through my about page framework and implemented it. And maybe you have, I don't know. Nevertheless, I like that you have your company values. You tell people what's important to you, and that's always a good thing. I'm big on communication, so I like that communication is a clear value that your company provides. You break it down, you give it some specificity, if you will, honesty and transparency. You have your Start Your Project button here, which goes to the contact page. So I would be curious, and I'm sure you have the numbers and how well that converts. I really do. I'm a big fan of people getting people to sign up for something. I like to say your best product or your most basic entrance into the door product. For you, that might be a SEO audit. I know you do these thorough SEO audits, and for the companies you work with, I'm sure they're eye-opening. And so that could even be something here instead of just a generic Start Your Project. We might like to say, hey, get an SEO audit. You know that I will communicate with you. You know that I'm thorough and transparent. So if you're wondering if you could do better as a company, sign up for one of my SEO audits. That's something you might consider putting here as opposed to starting your project. But certainly having something to get people to contact you is not a bad thing at all. So I would stick with that. You might consider trying getting an SEO audit, or if you have a product or service that doesn't, maybe even less expensive than that, to get people in the door, that might be a thing to do. I think that's an important thing, to get people in the door, whether it's contacting you for a free consultation, an SEO audit, or an about page teardown, or something like that. Learning a little bit more about the team, you have yourself here as a team member. The way you have it set up makes me think you're going to add some team members at some point. So that'll be exciting to see when you do actually add some more. But I do like that you have the Trusted Partners page. Got some really, really smart people here. And then you got me. So I'm pretty honored to be a part of this group here. But certainly you have resources for your clients, and I think that's extremely important, and you're proud enough to put their face on your about page. So I like that. And then another, what I call credibility enhancer, either credibility enhancer or social proof. I think they're the same thing, but I like that you've got all these logos here. And the other thing I really like is you have them linked. So it's not just a generic, here's the logo, you got to go find it yourself. You've got them linked. So that is a great thing to do. And I recommend when people put logos that go to an interview or a podcast episode or whatever, that they actually link it directly to the episode you're part of. And I think that's great. And at the bottom, you have your subscribe to our newsletter. I like this. I like it a lot. The only thing I would say, instead of saying subscribe to our newsletter, maybe something a little more specific. If you're giving out marketing tips or online marketing tips every week, maybe say something like get free online marketing tips in your inbox or something of that nature. Give them a benefit for signing up. It doesn't have, you don't have to be too complex. Or if you have a lead magnet or something that you give out, you might include that in there as well. But whatever it is, the benefit for signing up for your email, I would like to see you put that in your title here, and also use that in your button. So you have, I do like to see people have at least 2 call to actions, and you have that. You have 2 call to actions. Again, with the newsletter, I would like to be more specific. Get online marketing tips or whatever it is you do. And then for the other one is to start your project. If you're getting good results with that, don't do anything. But if you want to test it, you might put in something. I know you have a lot of different kinds of services, and you probably have some introductory type services. Like I know the SEO audit is a pretty big deal for you. That might be something you consider doing, or if you have a lead magnet you want to use to get people in the door, that might be an interesting thing to do there as well. But that's something you might test on your own to see if it's worth doing. So you did a really good job with pretty much everything. The only thing I would add to that, aside from addressing pain that your customer will have a little bit more directly, and getting them to see what it might look like if things were rolling in the right direction. Uh, I like to see a company tell a story about themselves. It does not have to be super long. Either something about how you went from doing one thing to doing what you're doing now, something that just gives a little bit of history to who you are. Um, I talk about 4 things for a company story: um, the values, the passion, the skills, and the history. You pretty much have the passion, the skills, and the values down. So you do a good job with that, and it does. Those 3 things do paint a bit of a story. Um, you may not think your story is very important, and a lot of times that's the case with us. We don't think it's very important until someone hears the story and says, I really like your story." So don't negate that. Think about, and when I talk about doing a story, a simple story arc where there's a beginning, a climax, and an end. The climax being overcoming some kind of obstacle. Um, or in some cases, that obstacle is the same obstacle that your target market is experiencing, and how you overcame that, and now you help people overcome that. So that is something I would consider putting in there. Um, all in all, though, this is a really good about page. Like I said, probably the best one that I have seen. So um, kudos. You always do really good work, John, so it doesn't really surprise me. Um, anyway, so this is the about page teardown for Lockedown Design, John Locke. And so I'm going to drop a link to the about page article I wrote earlier this year. And if you are interested in the about page framework, you can download it there. It's a PDF download um, that comes with a copy of the article in PDF, and you'll get an idea of what we're doing with the about page framework and how you might be able to make it better. And also on the YouTube channel that we're on, I have a number of about page teardowns, so you might want to go back and take a look at those. Again, this is Todd with Copyflight, the latest episode of the about page teardown. Hope you guys have a great week, and I'll talk to you next time.